Hi guys, it's the boss, and today gonna be reacting to some stuff from the PC because who hasn't done that before? Anyway, today I'm gonna be watching top 10 video games that killed their franchise. You might be thinking, why am I watching this type of video? Because I've been requested to do so by Soya Ergar, I think his name was. I think it's a he because I had to check on his channel to see if it's a he or she. Until I came across one of his videos about Karaman Dansen, and I think I don't know how to explain it. I watched it, and I have the image inside my head, and I'm not gonna tell you what that is. Either way, this one is by Creeps Plays, also known as Creeps Make Pasta, who yes is one of those creepypasta storyteller YouTubers or whatever, like Mr. Creepypasta. So this is interesting because this is the first time I've discovered one of his videos, because I think I'm subbed to him for like years ago, but I haven't come across his content, like his gaming content video wise. So yeah, it's a 12-minute long video. Well, 12:08 to be exact. So this should be interesting. And this one came out 2016, I believe. So I think his mic up to standard is it's almost there. Either way, let's go.
Video game franchises are common. In fact, with modern game development,
As
they
Star
sometimes won't
Crisis.
even take on a new IP unless it has sequel potential. So it's not uncommon to fall in love with a series. However, don't get too attached, as we're about to learn how easy it is for them to die through this top 10 video games that killed their franchise.
I can think of one game, Dead Space 3.
It's definitely still too early to definitely say Duke Nukem series is dead.
Yeah.
But if it is, we can probably lay the blame at the
Fuck
feet of
Duke
Duke
Nukem
Nukem
Forever.
forever.
Yeah.
Due to a long development time and numerous delays, Duke Nukem Forever had all but become a running joke when it was finally released,
Lol.
14 years after its initial announcement. And, after all that, reception to the game was less than stellar.
Yeah.
It was
Lackluster.
roundly criticized for its controls, humor,
Yep.
design, and lack of polish.
Yep.
Some fans loved it, but it stands out as a shining example of a long-awaited game that fell far short of its hype. Its development time is the most likely culprit, especially when it comes to aspects players found outdated.
Who are those fans who like the game? If you out there, come at me. Think of a even worse game than this. Oh wait, there's right to Retribution. And I thought I heard something. I heard a click on the cameraman's living room. And think of a worse game than this if you like Duke Nukem Forever. And I'll confirm it's even worse. Let me know in the comments. Okay, I'm just it's everyone's opinion. Anyway, let's go.
There have been suggestions that a new game in this series will be made after all, and that may determine Duke Nukem's ultimate fate.
That's some articles about that called
Breath
Duke
of Fire
Games,
was
but,
going strong until the release of the 5th game in the series, Breath of Fire Dragon Quarter.
Never heard of it.
It wasn't necessarily a bad game, but it was radically different from its predecessor. A sci-fi setting, a new battle system, and a story that required multiple playthroughs.
Lol.
It wasn't the Breath of Fire fans expected, and it divided the fan base. After that, Breath of Fire stopped. After years of silence,
Same for
Capcom
DMC
finally
2.
unveiled a new game in the series, but the PC and mobile-only Breath of Fire 6 looks nothing like the classic RPGs the originals were. And trying to seem good, we won't see another Breath of Fire game on console for a very long time. The Spyro series is a particularly strange example. It didn't
Which one?
die so much as evolve into something that has
Is
almost
it
no
Into the
ties to
Dragonfly?
the original game. And it's hard to say which game exactly did it.
Hold on.
Spyro, A Hero's Tale was the fifth game for consoles and ninth
Oh,
overall.
that game.
It got mixed reviews following the similarly mediocre reception to Spyro Enter the Dragonfly. When the game Spyro Shadow Legacy also got poor reviews, that could have doomed the series.
But
Instead, it was rebooted with the Legend of Spyro trilogy. The Legend of Spyro had its own continuity and plot, as well
yep.
as gameplay more focused on action and platforming.
hmm
Ultimately, this new take on Spyro also had mixed reception. However, Activision took one last chance with Spyro by taking the series in a completely different direction, and
Skylanders. Yep.
Spyro's Adventure spawned the insanely popular Skylanders franchise.
Yep.
The core Spyro series may be dead, but at least it left behind something new.
But hey, I could tell you right now, past Creepypasta, there's a Spyro trilogy remake on the way called Spyro Reignited. I think it's called Reignited, yeah. And it's a very good trilogy. You should check it out when it comes out. Yeah, that's me talking to Pat. Moving on. Shit. Piss.
The side-scrolling Klonoa series was fairly popular,
Oh.
with several games
Oh.
released, even if a few never made it out of Japan. When the original game, Klonoa Daughter Phantomile, was remade for the Wii, everything seemed right for Klonoa to rise again.
But,
The remake, simply called Klonoa, got positive reviews
huh.
and terrible sales. That makes it especially disappointing. The Klonoa remake shouldn't have killed its franchise. It wasn't a bad game, it just didn't sell. And that killed any rumors of a Klonoa 2 remake following the first.
Why?
The series lived on for a while through a webcomic, but that ended when the studio was shut down. No one has heard anything about Klonoa since then, and further sequels seem unlikely.
That is a shame, actually.
The Command & Conquer series has been around since the early days of the RTS genre
Fourth
and
one.
became very
Fuck
popular,
the fourth one.
with multiple series that all delivered the gameplay its fans loved.
Tiberian
It's something went
Trilight.
terribly wrong
right?
with the fourth game in the Tiberian series. Tiberian Twilight decided to change the gameplay by removing the resource gathering and base building. It also used DRM that required players to always be online.
Just like Diablo
Finally,
3.
the single-player campaign was
Sin
short
City.
and unimpressive, with most of the emphasis put on the multiplayer instead. Now the series is dead. Unless you count Command & Conquer Tiberian Alliances, a real-time strategy MMO launched in 2012.
And the Command & Conquer mobile that's on mobile right now.
Crash Bandicoot was one of the
It's
most
weird.
beloved platforming series of the PlayStation 1
Mind of
era.
a mutant?
But after that, it suffered from changing developers repeatedly. The originals were made by Naughty Dog. The
Yep.
next two went to Traveller's Tales.
Yep.
Vicarious Visions made a few, and it
Mhm.
eventually ended up in the hands of Radical Entertainment.
Yeah.
As the developers tried new ideas, the series slowly lost its identity until it finally resulted in Crash, Mind Over Mutant. As a mission-based beat-em-up game, it strayed pretty far away from the original Crash formula.
Damn.
Many players considered it uninspired, and fans of the original games found it disappointing. It may not have been the worst received in the series, but it didn't sell well. After that, there were a few mobile Crash spin-offs, but even the last of those was released in 2010. Fans still hope for Crash Bandicoot's revival, and a few hints show some promise, but if it returns, most hope Naughty Dog is back at the helm.
But you know what? There's also a remake on the way called I had the game up there, Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. In fact, if you fix the camera, boop, and look up there, see? Right there. It's right there. It's a bit blurry, but it's up there, the PC copy. And yes, for those wondering, I'm talking to 2016 Creepypasta. And it's also on PS4 and Xbox One and Nintendo Switch. I think. If you want to know what Switch is, then you have to wait for a few years to know. So maybe maybe a few months. Take a few months. So just wait. Anyways, moving on. I need some medication.
Capcom's Dino Crisis series is one of the saddest tales of a franchise's downfall.
Is it the third
And
one?
it only lasted 3 games and 1 spin-off. The first Dino Crisis was survival horror.
Yep.
More or less Resident Evil, with dinosaurs instead of zombies.
Yep.
Dino Crisis 2 abandoned that style for action-adventure gameplay, but it was still an excellent game. And the light gun shooter Dino Stalker might have had mixed reviews, but it was only a spin-off anyway. Then, Dino Crisis 3 happened. Instead of continuing the story established in the first 2 games, Dino Crisis 3 adopted a futuristic setting and took place on a space station. The enemies weren't real dinosaurs, but even so, fighting dinosaurs in space sounds like a cool idea, except for an ill-conceived jetpack system that worked together with a camera to make the players' lives misery. Dino Crisis 3 came out in 2003, and the series has yet to be mentioned again. Due to Capcom's dubious handlings of the Resident Evil in recent years, maybe that's for the best.
Sounds cool on paper if done properly.
At first glance, it might appear there are many games in the Luna series, but there are actually only 4. Luna the Silver Star, Luna Eternal Blue, Luna Walking School, which was never released outside of Japan in any form, and Luna Dragon Song.
Jeez.
All the others are remakes. So when Dragon Song came out in 2005, it had been a decade since the last new Luna story. Unfortunately, while the story was fine, it wasn't a good game. Your HP would decrease everywhere, even in towns.
What?
You couldn't get experience and items from the same battles. It had breakable items.
What the fuck?
Players felt it was tedious, convoluted, and highly flawed.
No wonder.
Luna Dragon Song got poor reviews and sales, and other than 2 more remakes of the first game, the Luna series has been dead ever since.
I never even heard about it, so...
For most of these games, the idea that they killed the franchise comes through speculation, since it was the last game in the series.
That's Warfighter, right?
Who knows? Maybe they didn't kill it after all. With Medal of Honor Warfighter, however, there is no doubt. Medal of Honor was a popular first-person shooter series set during World War II until the 13th game, which rebooted the series and placed it in modern times. Warfighter was its sequel, and it did terribly. Bugs, generic gameplay, and a bland plot. Warfighter made players wonder if Medal of Honor could ever overcome this. As it turns out, it couldn't. Because of the poor reception, EA put the series on hold indefinitely. Yes, Medal of Honor Warfighter officially killed its franchise.
Yep, I think it's coming back in some way.
So back what could be worse than the company acknowledging that the game killed its franchise? With Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, it feels like
wanted to bring it up
before the game even came out. Nuts and Bolts wasn't a bad game. If it were a spin-off or released as a new IP, it wouldn't receive nearly the ire it does. Unfortunately, it wasn't a spin-off or a new IP. It was a Banjo-Kazooie game, the first in 8 years that was part of the main series.
Banjo
this was supposed
3E.
to be the Banjo
I'm doing
3
quotations because it's
hoped
not
for.
really a 3E.
But while Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie were traditional 3D platformers and collectathons, Nuts and Bolts dropped the vast majority of its predecessor's gameplay, along with Banjo and Kazooie's special abilities, to focus on vehicle building. You collect cars and materials to fashion a variety of vehicles, which are used within various worlds. It was an enjoyable vehicle game, and the series' sense of humor remained intact. But the radically different gameplay, along with a few jokes about how the old gameplay was outdated, left fans angry. Rare hasn't made another Banjo-Kazooie since then. It hasn't made any 3D platformers since then. It's as if the entire company lost part of its identity with Nuts and Bolts. But worst of all, Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts predicted its own death. In the final cutscene, Kazooie asks Log, the Lord of Games, "Can I have my old abilities back? If this game isn't successful, we might need them for the next one." Log replies, "Good point, although you may never get another game." Any game can kill a franchise, but it takes a special sort of game to know it's franchise killer.
But hey, it's the end of the
Anyway, I
video.
hope you enjoyed this week's list, and if you did, leave a like. And if you want to see more of these in the future, subscribe. And if you want to see more
Soon.
now,
Oh,
click here for my
fuck off, subtitles.
top 10 scariest moments in non-horror games, or here for my top 10 most influential 90s horror games.
I mean, it's good, but of course not the best, and it's disappointing. So that's all I have to say. What I was gonna say is that I want to put this old traditional clip of a certain individual that talks about the nuts and bolts. And if you want to know what the individual is and what the clip looks like, here it is.
No, it's too painful to watch. Yeah, you got that part right. Gamers today don't want all this, they just want to shoot things? But as we're broadening the demographic, I'll have to think of something original. Something original, huh? Broadening the demographic? Alright, I'll bite. What exactly did you guys have in mind? Cars? Cars? Cars! And I, holy shit! We'll always love you. I can't believe you did this to me, goddammit! How could you do this to me?
Yep, that's John for him. Either way, so that's been it for my reaction to top 10 video games that killed the franchise. Give it a like if you enjoyed my reaction to it. And then don't forget to subscribe so you don't want to miss any of my videos. And yeah, I'm not gonna say live streams because, well, they're delayed indefinitely till I get until Stefan gets a better computer. I mean, a Mac computer that can do stuff and all that stuff. So yeah, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And yeah, so I'll see you all in the next video, except for Stefan. So yeah, stay safe and stay strong. Okay, stay safe and stay strong as always. Take care, guys, and also, I think I have something at the back of my head there, right? That's yep. I think it's a open wound. I might fix that. I don't know. Maybe having a bit of scars is kind of badass. I mean, not always badass. Either way, yeah. Peace.